Hey guys, thanks so much and welcome to the Game Your Future podcast, where we help gamers realize their full potential. And today we have a special guest for you. This is Amanda Golden Petri, or AGP for short, who is the nerdiest marketing coach on the planet. So, Amanda, AGP, thank you so much and welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome, all of you fellow nerds.
Fantastic. So I understand that you're not as much on the gaming side, more on like the nerd culture, kind of fandom kind of side of things, right? And yeah, tell us a little bit about kind of like what it is that you love doing that is just so much fun and a passion that a lot of people may not think is this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I love word games, okay, and they still count. They still count because I beat you in them. All right.
There
I
you go.
have a degree in writing. When I actually was in high school and I took the English AP, I got the highest grade in the entire city, okay? I can beat you guys in word games. So I do love those and they count.
There you go. See, still a gamer, still counts. Fantastic. So tell us about being the nerdiest marketing coach on the planet. So what does that mean and what is that about?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I love building businesses too. That's the other thing that I'm really, really good at. Now, I really struggled getting into it because I've had so much life chaos. It's utterly insane. You talk about gaming your future, and I'm glad I have a future that I am alive because I have had so many near-death
Oof.
experiences. But in the process, I have learned that building businesses is something that I absolutely love, and I am such a dork at it. I have all these formulas. I have all these methods, and when I use them, I can build up a business.
Okay. And that's what I think a lot of people might be interested in as far as like, trying to start your own business. Because coming from kind of the passion around video games, like how can how can I build a business, right? I'm just, playing my games at home. I don't even know where to start, right? Like
Mm.
I don't even know what to do. Like there's enough there's some people that go into like the gaming side of things to say like, oh, maybe I can be a Twitch streamer, right? And that takes a lot of time, may not make a lot of money, but like when we talk about like making a huge amount of income, if they want to have this kind of like, big lifestyle, a lot of people say like, well, you got to make a business, right? You got to like earn first. You can't just work for somebody else for a salary. You got to really make something.
Yes, well, and I will tell you, if you really like social media, for example, you can literally make money that way. It doesn't have to be this huge business. I actually published one of my books. I think it was what 2 months ago, and all I did was promote it on TikTok, and I got $3,000 in 30 days, literally from a book. It's insane. But when it comes to real businesses, I want to say you just have to practice. You have to practice and you have to get good at generating leads. You have to get good at creating offers and then putting the traffic in front of the offers so that you can convert them into sales. The first time that I did this, the first time I was practicing, okay, I was learning traffic generation. And I failed at first because I didn't have an offer, but I was getting a mailing list. I was building up the mailing list. And then eventually I learned how to create an offer and I actually made six figures. And then when I got even better at it, I made multiple six figures. So you have to be okay with practicing, and when you practice, you're going to fail. It's like when you're playing a game. You're not always good at it when you start the game, right? You have to learn it over time and then you get better and better and you become an expert at it. So you're not going to be good at building a business at first, but if you keep going, you keep building up that traffic, you keep putting those offers in front of that traffic, keep getting the traffic in order to buy those offers. That's it's not that much. It's not that much stuff you need to learn. Just traffic and
Yeah.
offers, guys.
Traffic and offer. That's all you need, right? That's
Yep.
that's fantastic. And so I guess I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that would ask, be like, okay, so all I need is traffic and offers. And that, fundamentally it makes sense. If there's enough people seeing your stuff and you have something that the people can buy, the offer, right? Eventually they'll buy. But so what is it about? So we're starting kind of like where you started as far as like the traffic. So what is it that helps get people, helps generate the traffic, right? Because there's so many people that will go out and they'll try something, once or twice, and maybe you're like, well, I'm not generating views or leads or whatever. So that's clearly not working. Like I need to pivot. Like at what point do you, look at that or try something different?
Right. So the thing about the traffic is there's so many different places that you can get it, right? You can get it from literally just posting on social media, but the challenge there is that you're dealing with an algorithm, right? Just because you have followers doesn't mean that everyone is going to see those posts. And you have to deal with the algorithm being like, oh no, this person isn't going to like it. Let me not put it in front of them. And dealing with that algorithm, you have to post so much. And you have to get to know what actually works. And that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So if you don't like that, you can go work on something like SEO. In SEO, you have to learn how to word everything specifically so that you know what keywords people are using when they search. But if people aren't searching for your thing on Google, they're not going to see it there too. And that's a lot of work because guess what? You have to publish some more. You have to be publishing things on your website, right? So then the other thing you can do is you can start networking. You can go to events. You can purchase tickets to those events and you can get in front of buyers who actually purchase things. But guess what? That's also work and that's also money. And so the other thing that you can try is you can do paid advertising, where you're, for example, going to Facebook ads and you're putting in the targeting so you know exactly who it's going to be going in front of, but you have to pay for those ads and you have to get good at all the techie stuff behind it. So every single solitary lead generation strategy has those downs and those things that you have to get used to and you have to be able to like have the guts to try it and you have to have the time to try it. And so that's why a lot of people really struggle with lead generation because entrepreneurship, guys, you got to be willing to take the risk.
Yeah, but I think that's key because I think a lot of people are looking for that kind of magic bullet, the silver bullet, right? To say like, okay,
Mm.
well, where can I spend the least amount of time, like get the most bang for my buck, if you will, right? Like the 80/20 rule. Where's the point that I can spend the least amount of time, generate the most revenue, right?
I still personally believe that it's paid advertising because yes, it takes a lot of effort to get it working, but once it's working, that's the like make money while you sleep kind of thing actually comes into reality. But the thing is, a lot of people are so scared of paid ads that they don't do it, or it is complex. There's a lot of
Yeah.
technology that's involved with it. So you really do have to practice in order to learn it. And if you're practicing while you're spending money on ads, it can be scary. So that's why a lot of people
Right.
avoid it. But personally, that is my favorite.
Is that what I've heard a lot of people say that paid advertising is more like a multiplier, whereas like it's not necessarily something you do at the beginning. Unless is that what you're kind of saying as far as can you start with paid advertising as the lead generation, or is that too costly to try to figure out? And like I said, I've seen people say it's like, well, once you dial in your offer, once you dial in kind of like what it is that your message is, then you start paid advertising. It just multiplies the leads at that point,
I
so you
mean, I
can
do think
scale.
you start with the offer because if the offer is crap, if your funnel is crap, it doesn't matter whether you're using paid advertising or not. It's not going to work. So you need to know what you're selling, make sure that it's a good offer, have the technology also in place so that you can run it with ads, or sorry, run it with a sales funnel. And then if you put the ads in front of it, it's actually going to convert. Because if you put the ads in front of something that's poopy, you're going to get poopy results.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of people start is to say like, oh, well, if I just, I can get lots of viewers, I can get lots of customers if I just do paid advertising. But if you're saying, and I've seen this too, whereas like if the offer isn't dialed in and it's, like it's poop, it's garbage, then people are going to look at it and be like, well, people saw it, but they
Mhm.
didn't buy anything. Right.
Oh, you know what you're bringing up in my mind too is when it comes to the offer, my recommendation is it's not actually just one. It's not just one offer because the more offers you have that are connected, the more you can cover the cost of those ads. So my recommendation is that you always have signature offers. You have a signature, what's called entry level offer that you put on the front end. So that's the thing that the ads go in front of. And my recommendation is it's usually an objection handling offer. So if people see a signature offer that actually costs a good bit of money, right? Like they're paying 597, 797, 997, something like that, that if they bought it, it would cover, it would cover so much stuff in your business. It would actually bring you in profit. Getting the ads to go in front of that might be hard because it's a lot of money and they're going to have objections. So you put it in front of something else that's like $7, $17, $97, something like that. It's a lower ticket offer that handles all of the objections that people would have to the bigger one. But then once they get the bigger one, you also put them in front of an upsell after they buy it. And the reason why I say to do this is because the percentages. Look, we are nerds, okay? So I can use these words. I hope that's okay.
Absolutely.
Um, and a good percentage of them actually buy all three. So I remember when I didn't initially handle all of my ads and I had a advertising manager who was handling mine. The average order value was like $600. People would go in front of my ads and they would buy my entry level offer. They would buy what's called my order bumps. So like there's this offer that is added onto the order form. They can like click and add it to the order. And then they would buy the signature offer, then they would buy the upsell, and it would be like $600 for every person who comes through. And he's like, Amanda, what on earth? So look, guys, this is good stuff.
For sure. And you're saying that's with the advertising person, or that's when you took over doing it yourself?
That was when I had someone managing my ads, and they didn't have the other people's whose ads they were managing didn't do stuff like this. So they had lower what's called average order values, meaning the
Hmm.
people who come through the ads were tending to only buy like $97 stuff. So they weren't covering their ads or they were breaking even. I was actually making profit.
Ah, so, and that's where you want to be, right? That's where you want to say like, hey, I've not only am I generating the new customers, they're actually having this higher order value or this higher lifetime value, so that you're generating that profit that you're looking for, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so I think we've kind of narrowed down to like, wow, the offer is really important.
Hmm.
So we really need to dial that in. So I guess that begs the next question. So what makes a good offer?
Okay. So when I create my offers, I'm always trying to get clear about what's called the profit piece. Okay. You always want to be really clear on what is the pain? What are you resolving? What is the issue in this world that you want to address for other beings? Because other people aren't just buying it because they like you. Like, yes, if they know you, if they like you, if they trust you, they are more likely to buy. But they're not buying because of that. They're buying because they have some sort of issue. So, what is the issue in this world that you are solving? You want to be really, really clear on that. Okay. Now, the other one's going to sound really similar, but it's not. Possibility. Okay. What is the possibility in their life if they solve it? Like, what is life going to look like? So not just the pain, but what is the desired outcome that they're going to have from it? Um,
This is kind
and
of like the future self, right? Like this future self vision for
Yes,
the, okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the pain is kind of like where they're at now, and then the possibility is like where they want to be. Okay, be really clear on those two things because you're going to use it in your ads, guys. You're going to use it on your sales page, and if you don't, you're not going to get as many sales. So just trust me on this one, all right? The pathway. The pathway is like what is the process that they need to follow, the steps that they need to take in order to, or the method that you're teaching them in order to get them from that point A to that point B. And then it's the product. You got to actually be able to describe the product. So, you know how people tend to talk about like features versus benefits? Features is like what is included, and the benefits are like what I just talked about, the pain, the possibilities, the A versus the B, that type of thing. Yes, you need to talk about the pain and the possibilities and the path, but you also need to talk about like what's included in the product.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
It,
just simply selling like the benefit is like, okay, great, but what am I actually doing? Right? Is kind of the question you're answering there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%. You need to be just able to describe the products and like how it works.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
aren't just gonna and like what how many stars it has, right? And what the reviews are for the product. So they know they're getting something good.
Yep.
And then the other P is the price. What is the price of the product? And I personally don't think that it's a bad thing to start with a lower price and then slowly bring it up so that you can see where that where it's going to get stuck.
Mhm.
Okay. As you raise it, you'll be able to see when the sales start going down. And when the sales start going down, you start to know where the highest price that you can get away with.
Yeah.
So there you go. Those are the profit piece. And that's when you're mapping out your offer, the things that you want to be really clear on, and the stuff that you want to include in your ads and in your sales pages.
And that's huge because I think a lot of people will do because they'll do different pieces of that, right? Because I think a lot of people do like the product itself. You'd be like, well, here's
Yeah.
what you get.
Yep.
Like you want to buy, like you haven't told them why, right? So you're saying like start with that pain, right? And the I like the pathway, the journey, and then getting to that kind of future self is how I like to describe it. Like, what where that desired outcome. right?
Oh my
Because
gosh, you know what? You also just reminded me too, because here's the thing. We are emotional creatures, and we tend to buy when we feel like it, when we're impulsive or we're feeling like crap. Okay? We are emotional people. And so you got to make sure that you can address that emotion with whatever it is that you're selling to them, but they might have objections. And those objections might be emotional or they could be logical. And there's also reality, right? Reality is that you have to address logical stuff. So make sure that you're covering the emotional side and the logical side. And if you can cover both of those, then pretty much whatever objections they have, you are going to answer them. And whatever like frame of mind they're in, you're going to answer them because the reality is there's so many of us out in this world, so many of us, and we're not all coming to it in the same exact way. There might be like 100 different frames of mind that people could be coming to you in. And if you do all of these P's, you're going to address all of those different ones that could exist.
yeah, exactly. Because there's a lot of people that'll be like, I'm sitting in pain, I want to get out of it. And
Hmm.
then there's a lot of people that are like, all right, I want to reach this specific goal, right? So the pain and the pleasure drives, right?
Mm.
And I think a lot more people are motivated by pain, right? They're more willing to pay to get out of where they are versus like, oh, there's some kind of a magical place over here that I kind of want to be at. Maybe I'll get there. It's like, no, if you're having pain now, you're like, yeah, get me out.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Gotcha. And then the pathway. So I mean, it sounds like, and I've heard the analogy kind of like a map or a GPS, right? To say like you have where you are currently, the pain,
Hmm.
where you want to go, like the future, the desired outcome, and then you're kind of selling them kind of the pathway, right?
Yep.
Like kind of the
Oh
how.
my God. Yes, you 100% got it.
Nice. So I think that's what we're saying here is that like, we need to sell them not just the pathway, but make sure that they understand where they are, right? Like,
Hmm.
they're at the pain. They want to get to the pleasure and really echoing that and saying that in the like in the ad, right? In the copy.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that's a really good selling point too, because there might be a lot of other competitors who sell the same exact thing as you do, but if you just position it in a slightly different way, and you describe your method, your process, your step by step, that pathway, whatever you want to call it, in a slightly different way, even if it's only one little difference, you're going to stand up against those competitors and you're going to win.
That's awesome. So one of the questions that I have around that for like the advertising is so are you seeing as far as like the kind of like I guess what's the medium as far as like is it just kind of these is it a banner ad? Is it like on Facebook the little square ad? Is it
Mm.
video like ahead of like a YouTube video or something like that? What works and what have you tried that has been really successful?
So, one thing that I want to be really clear on is you need something that involves, okay, in an ideal world, I like something that you can track because you know where it's coming from and you know what's working and what's not. So that's one of the reasons why I really love paid advertising because they can tell you the exact ad that's working. And you can do all this testing to see which targeting is working, like who exactly sees it and tends to buy, or like what piece of copy is the one that's getting them to buy, what image or video is working to get them to buy. Whereas if you use a banner, you don't get to know that as much unless, okay, you edit it so that there's a specific phone number that people are calling that only comes from that ad, or there's a specific link that they're going to that only comes from that ad. Or if you're posting on social media, you do the same thing. You could do the same thing. It's like a specific phone number or specific link. So that would be one of my biggest suggestions from the very beginning is make sure you can track it because if you can't track it, you have absolutely no idea where your sales are coming from, and it makes it really hard moving forward in order to scale that business up. So where are you advertising? The more tracking you can do, the better. But whatever you decide based on like your fears or what you're really good at, what your network is, that type of thing, just at least make sure you can try to do the tracking. So if you can do that from there, I think that it is, oh my gosh, it's a lot of trial and error. Just know that. It's a lot of practice. Just know that. Um, but and I think it depends upon where you're doing it because where you're doing it is going to have its own strategy based on how it works. You know, a banner is going to look a lot different than a social media post on Facebook is going to look a lot different than TikTok. The ad is going to look a lot different than the organic post. So yet again, be very okay with practicing the trial and error, failing, and just, just track as much as you can.
Gotcha. And then the question is where, like where to practice? Is there one, excuse me, is there one social media platform that works better than your use case? Is it very user specific? Is it, I guess, market specific more or less? Like
All
where
of
do you do the
those,
advertising?
all of those things, but me personally, I use Facebook ads.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I've been talking about it because that's what I use. I do
Gotcha.
use TikTok too, but it doesn't make me as much money as Facebook does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then all right, so the Facebook ads, I assume like a lot of them too so it tracks like kind of on the back end, so you can see like how much is
Oh,
being
yeah,
clicked
you know
on
what
what.
else? Email list. Email
Mm.
list because you control it. You can
Ah,
control what they're seeing, what's going out to them, and you do get a lot of tracking on the back end too. Um, so email lists and paid advertising are the two that I mainly use for those reasons. But I mean, yeah, you can try whatever platforms you use. I just might not be able to help you.
gotcha. So so on the paid advertising front, so making sure I understand. So as far as like trial and error, right? Because we have to see like what kind of copy, like changing whether it's the setting like the market, like I've seen that where you can choose like hey, try to target this demographic or this interest
Yeah,
group, this kind of whatever, and then trying the different copy by meaning like the actual ad that you make up
yeah.
itself to see what works where, right? That's kind of what you're trying. That's what you mean by the trial and error, right? So like what copy am I
Mm.
using versus what market am I targeting today, and then testing all these different variations, right? Just to kind of see what works and what's generating the most views and then therefore the most conversion, right?
Oh my God, you're so good at my recaps. Like I'm talking like a nerd, but because you are also a nerd, you're like, okay, she said this, and then you just recap it really well.
Proud of
Thank you
it.
so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
Guys, you
Uh,
got a good podcast host.
yeah, thank you.
Of course.
So, yeah, because I think a lot of people, and I'll say myself too, would love to learn this kind of stuff, right? Because self proud nerd just to say like, yeah, I try to understand the systems and try to figure out how I like to say like I like the tools of like how things work, right? It's like so I like
Mm.
to have the shiniest tool to be like, all right, so how does this work? Like, all right, so now make sure I have the coolest tools to do the job, right?
Oh my God, I got so lucky because oh my God, when I first started in business, okay, this is right after I graduated college, okay, you could tell I was a nerd just based on where I went. I went to Johns Hopkins University with a full ride scholarship. It was insane. But right when I graduated, I got a job working with Mara Glazer, which if you're in like the direct response marketing realm, then like Bill Glazer, Dan Kennedy, those types of people. I worked with Bill Glazer's daughter, and I helped her launch her business to six figures really, really quickly. And she taught me Infusionsoft.
Ah,
Infusionsoft, or Keep is what it goes by now, is one of the absolute hardest, what's called CRM, so like email marketing software. And she taught me it right from the very beginning. So literally from the very first job I ever had in marketing, I started with the absolute hardest one. And I think it was like such a blessing. So I've seen a lot of people throughout my time who choose the cheapest, easiest one, and they do not go as far as they could.
hmm.
So I almost feel like, and here's the other thing, you can learn the easiest one so much faster if you've learned the hard one first.
Yeah.
It's so beneficial. So choose the hardest one, guys. Oh my
Let's just go
God.
straight for the hard one.
Yeah,
So
why not?
Infusionsoft. That's because I assume you're talking like there's a lot of people I've seen people do whether it's Mailchimp or
Oh my God. Yes,
or
I hate
MailerLite.
MailChimp.
So there's like the easy one. So what is your thoughts on Go High Level if you've seen or heard that one?
Oh, I have. I use ClickFunnels.
That's gonna it because yeah, you mentioned as far as like some of the order bumps and other things. I'm like, I've seen some of that stuff in ClickFunnels, so I kind of guessed, but
Yeah, so I mean, I've tried just about every CRM you could possibly think of and every funnel builder you can think of. And um, me and my tech person, my tech support, we were really talking about which one to choose. And because we actually got off of ClickFunnels Classic not too long ago. And honestly, just because it got to be like such a mess and we wanted to start over. And we were talking about going to ClickFunnels 2.0 or going to go high level.
Hmm.
And we chose ClickFunnels 2.0.
Okay.
But I still think go high level is really, really, really good. And there is the possibility to sell it as your own, right? Because they can license it to you and you get to adjust the branding and sell it as your own um software, which is
Yeah,
really, really, really cool in my opinion. And you can make a lot of money doing that. So I'm not going to say bad things. It's just I personally chose ClickFunnels 2.0.
gotcha. And then, yeah, for those that don't know, or yeah, because I think we talk a lot of gaming kind of stuff on this one. So, like, so some of the website and kind of the back end builders and the CRMs we haven't talked a lot about on this podcast. But for those that don't know, if you're looking to like kind of build your own like especially digital online business, right? It's kind of how would you describe that as far as having these kind of email lists and websites and sales funnels, right? All these kind of things. Yeah, I started recently using the like a white labeled version of Go High Level.
You did. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's so I've sold softwares before too. So guys, it's the same thing. You have that offer and then you put traffic in front of it and you track which traffic is working.
Yeah. And that's so I think that's what's huge about like those kind of systems is that it has that huge level of tracking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I've mentioned on this podcast before, but I'd love to share with you as far as so when I did my MBA, they had a mantra that they drilled into us, right?
Mm.
And it was what gets measured gets rewarded,
Oh
and what
my
gets rewarded
God.
gets done.
That's brilliant. Oh my God. I'm clapping my hands.
Yes. So please, so I share that with everybody. Please take that and run with it if you want. Like, yeah, make it your own. So I'll say that comes from the University of Tennessee's MBA program.
Ooh, I love it. Good job.
Yeah. So when you mentioned like, oh yeah, track everything and trial and error and try to test all these things, I'm like, yep, yep. It's like it's a different version of that. It's just like, oh yeah, just if you track it, if you can measure it, you can reward based on it, and that's exactly what's happening, right? So,
You know what? It's kind of like when you're playing a game and you're like, ooh, this move worked and that move didn't. And this strategy worked and that strategy didn't. It's the same thing in marketing. It's the same thing in business.
and that's what it's the exact same thing. And those that play like the big the MMOs, right? The big multiplayer games, like they'll do I've used them before too. It's so damage meters as they're called or DP damage per second DPS meters. It's just like and it just tracks like the combat log of like how much damage you did, how much damage your teammates did, and you can look and you get to track it. And there's some of them that don't like it. They don't really, or they don't allow it because it can create toxic behavior. Like, hey, you're not doing enough. You're not da 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 da. But at the same time, it really helps to improve, right? Because, and that's what some of the best people in the world use is like, you have to use it to be like, okay, well, at this stage of the fight, our damage dropped. What happened?
Mm,
It's like, oh, we had to do this. We had to move here. And, da, da, da. And so it's just, it's using it, the data. It's like, how do you use the data, right? And it's,
hmm
so the same thing that we're talking about here with marketing, right? It's using that data to get better, right? Not to
mm.
shame other people like it is sometimes, unfortunately, in some
I don't know.
aspects
Sometimes
of
that
it.
comes up too.
And that can come up too.
I'm half kidding.
But right, but the point is that you're using it to find out what works and therefore do better better marketing means more revenue, more sales as a result,
Mm.
right?
Oh my gosh. I love it. You're so good.
Thank you. Oh, so much fun. And I know we could talk about this for hours, but I do want to be respectful of time too. So before we go, definitely want to help. Did we forget anything? I want to make sure that we touch on as much things as we can. But as far as like this kind of sales marketing, being the nerdiest marketing coach on the planet, what else would you share with us today that we have forgotten?
Oh my God. I could talk about business forever. And it seems like you and I could talk about it
Oh,
together
yeah.
forever. So just the recap is start with your offer, figure out what it is that you are selling, make sure that you know how to sell it with those profit Ps, and then put it in front of traffic. And there are so many different forms of traffic. They all have ups and downs. But make sure you try them with that bold aspect of your personality who is ready to practice even though it is going to be a little bit of trial and error. Send that traffic to that offer and and just keep going because that business will work. You just have to keep trying.
Just have to keep trying, guys. That's it. Perseverance, right? And gamers, we know
Oh my God,
perseverance.
yes, that is entrepreneurship.
It's the same, guys. Just keep going. Just keep hitting continue. You'll get there, right?
There, oh, I love it.
Oh, so good. So thank you. I'll just say thank you so much, AGP, just for all the knowledge and all the wisdom here. And so I'll say to the audience, guys, if you like this, definitely let me know. I would love to have her back. And if there's any of the specific topics that you want to go deeper into, let us know, and maybe we'll have her back as a guest again in the future. So
In the meantime, guys, you can go to goodandpaid.com, and that's where you can learn more about how to market like a nerd.
perfect. Well, thank you so much. And before we go, I do have one final question for you, AGP.
Sure.
And that is, I know you don't have maybe too much experience with it, but I did hear one. What is your favorite video game?
Wordle. Yeah,
Counts.
I like it. I win it. I've never ever got like lost on Wordle. Every single day, I find out what the word is.
Perfect. So, and it's these little things that I love. It's just so so much fun. And thank you again, AGP, for being on this. And so guys, definitely let me know what you loved about it and what we got to talk about the next time. So I'll say AGP again, thank you. And to the audience, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.